after we have tapped into this order block right here, the price decided to accumulate. Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? This is your man, Prof Zones, and Prof is not for professor, but for profits. Oh, yeah. And we're back at it, guys, with episode 8 of GroundUp Breakdown. Yes, episode 8 of GroundUp Breakdown. And quick disclaimer, guys. Maybe my voice might be sounding a little weird or a little less energetic as usual. That's because just yesterday, I started to catch the floozies. The floozies. Oh my God. So yeah, it's the early stages of it. So I have to nurse my body. I have to take it easy on a lot of things. So enough said about that. With that said, guys, please do hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your trading buddies so that we can keep each other on profitable levels, you know? So with that said, guys, let us get into AudUsd. So I'm gonna do a very brief weekly recap. Why? Simply because we already have weekly recaps. We've done 2 quick recaps this week. So yeah, I don't really need to go much into that other than saying on our weekly, let's go to our monthly, just for control. Not much, but for control. All right. Yep, there we go. So as I said, guys, we have now violated this fair value gap. Right? And as you know, when the market violates a fair value gap, it is looking for liquidity. So in this case, we have our internal range sell side liquidity right there, and our external range sell side liquidity right there, right? Okay, so now I'm going to mark these as our external range liquidity, sell side liquidity, and we have our internal range liquidity. Now, this is very lovely simply because also over here we have our internal range, buy side liquidity, and then over here we have our external range, buy side liquidity. But now we are not going to really focus on the buy side liquidity. Why? Let me just do this. Why? Simply because we are in a bearish market. The bears are in charge. They've been in charge. As I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, that the bears are in charge, right? Bears are in charge, guys. And that is very evident. They're in charge in the monthly time frame, and they're in charge in the weekly and daily time frames. So guess what? The lower time frames should just follow suit. So with that said, guys, we're looking for the market to target, let me grab my annotation tool. We're looking for the market to target this internal range liquidity right there, right? Sweep that liquidity, then get some steam, some late buyers in the market, and hopefully it creates a fair value gap right here as it closes off in the month. Hopefully that happens so that we know we can wait for that liquidity to be swept so that we can sell into this fair value gap right here so that we can clear this external range liquidity. If that doesn't happen though, we're just going to shoot straight into that external range liquidity and then push up into a certain fair value gap. Because as you know, the market moves from liquidity to fair value. Liquidity to fair value. That's what the market keeps doing. So after it violates a fair value, it's probably heading for liquidity. After it has cleared liquidity, it's probably going to head for a fair value. So yeah, with that said, guys, let us move into our weekly time frame. And as you can see on our weekly time frame, it's looking very, very, very beautiful and very, very bearish. There is no reason that we should not clear this liquidity right here, other than maybe some buyers just want to tap into, let's say, a fair value gap that is somewhere in here, simply because they've just cleared this liquidity, right? So that's the only reason why we might maybe stall. But the lower time frames is going to guide us. It's going to show us basically what is going to happen. So yeah, let us move into our daily time frame so that we can have a better glimpse. And as you know, on our daily time frame, we were targeting to fill this fair value gap right here. And we did achieve that. We filled this fair value gap right here. So price has been repriced. So this fair value has been repriced, and now we're looking for it to be rebalanced, right? As you can see, guys. And then we tapped into what? We tapped into this demand zone over here. This very beautiful demand zone over here. And then we started to reject. So now, as I said, that those buyers are probably taking advantage of the fact that we just cleared this liquidity. So these buyers are taking advantage that we just cleared that liquidity, and now they're looking for fair value. Now they're looking for fair value. So where could they be heading? They could be heading into this order block right here, right? So that they can officially sell into this internal range liquidity, or they could be heading into another order block or fair value in the lower time frame that might be resting around about here, right? So now with that said, and of course the extreme would be them to come just fill this fair value right there, which would be very lovely if they do that, because then we know there's nothing else we're looking for on the upside, right? So we'll have enough steam for the market to push all the way into this internal range liquidity if we tap into this fair value up there. So with that said, let us look into the H4 time frame just to see, just to have a little better perspective on what's actually going on. So as you can see, we're still forming lovely lower lows. We're still forming lovely lower lows, right? So this fair value right here is a very nice one as well, simply because we have a beautiful piece of liquidity that is resting right there. Right there. So we know that this fair value gap right here in the H4 time frame might just hold if the price gets to that level, and we can look for our sells, right? And if of course it violates that level, we know that it's heading for what? It's heading for this fair value gap right here, which is very, very beautiful, right? So with that said, we know where to look for our sells, right? So now let us move into the hourly time frame, where things will get a little bit more interesting. Why? Because we've been forming lower lows, and look at how we have just consolidated right here. After we have tapped into this order block right here, the price decided to accumulate. So now we can easily push down, since we have pressure to the downside, tap into this fair value so that they can get some steam, and then move up into maybe another fair value they might leave, and then drop, right? Or we can easily tap into this fair value right here, push up to fetch this fair value before we look for sells. So now basically the points of interest that we will be looking at, seeing that we're very, very bearish and we keep forming lower lows, right? The what you call the point of interest that we'll be looking at is literally, if the market will continue to drop, open Monday, continue to drop, we'll look if it's going to sweep this liquidity or not. Because if it does sweep that liquidity, we know that it's going to want some steam to push up again, right? Just like how it done when it swept this liquidity. It swept that liquidity, tapped into a higher time frame point of interest, which was this daily demand zone. And then from there, it started to react and push all the way up again into what? This fair value. As I said, guys, the market moves from liquidity to fair value. So if this fair value that is resting over here does not hold and it's violated, and then this liquidity is swept, we already know that we need to look for any fair values that are resting in here so that we can sell into them, right? And if they don't hold, we know already exactly where the market is going for, which is to sweep this liquidity and maybe form some equal highs if it doesn't tap into that fair value before it drops. So overall, guys, we are looking for sells. Overall, we're looking for the market to be very bearish. And as you can see, guys, look at this beautiful accumulation. So we can easily push all the way down into these zones before stuff starts to happen. So yeah, guys, with that said, you already know we're looking for sells, and you already know where our points of interest are. So with that said, guys, I don't want to make this too long because I need to actually save my energy so that I can actually recover. But with that said, guys, this is your man, Prof Zones. Thank you for watching, and let's plan the trade and trade the plan. Dango.